Welcome to Run With It, Canada's running fitness and health program. On this month's episode, we have a segment on how to make smoothie popsicles, so stay tuned for that. Also, I was in conversation with Dr. Bob Weil about universal exercises for all sports. But first, let's go to our Doctor's Corner segment. Check this out. Welcome back, Dr. Avinashi. Let's talk about the latest eye care technology.
You know, it's fun being in a profession where things are constantly evolving, whether it's new diagnostics or new therapeutics to treat and manage patients. And, you know, when you get into more subspecialized disease management, being glaucoma or retinal management, again, that's out of my scope, or we don't do that, but we work hand in hand with a lot of those subspecialists. And there's a lot of new things that are coming out in how we manage those certain diseases. In our profession as an optometrist, we do two of the most common things that we see on a day-to-day basis with our patient base is myopia, which I'll talk about in a second, which is nearsightedness. And sure, that may be more a visual concern or refractive error, but it's becoming so much more prevalent. Number two, the single most common thing that any eye doctor sees anywhere in the globe, and the most common symptom that patients experience is dryness. Now, dryness is just a simple word, but there's so many versions of this. We term it under ocular surface diseases. And in a digital age that we're living in with an aging population, we're seeing such a high amount of this in our practice, and it's building and it growing at a very large rate, which is unfortunate, but that's where we're seeing a lot of the new technologies for diagnostics and therapeutics come to play. Mm-hmm. So going back to the first one, myopia, nearsightedness. You know, if we go back 5 decades ago, or even to our grandparents' age, the prevalence of nearsightedness was very low in our society. We can say in some countries as low as 10 or 15 or 20% of the population was, nearsighted. Fast forward to where we're at now, some Asian countries are recording some communities as high as 70% of our youth are nearsighted. They're saying by the end of 2030 or so, we're going to have 50% of our youth that will be nearsighted. So it's becoming quite prevalent. Again, I'm saying that word, but it's scary. And why is that? Is because back in the day, our grandparents used to wake up, go to school, if that even, they'd just be in the fields playing with their friends outside. Nowadays, youth are sitting inside, virtually learning everything on a screen. Their social life becomes on a screen with their friends. Their entertainment and social fun activities become on a screen as well. And it's forcing our eyes to become a lot more stretched out or nearsighted. So yeah, up to now, how do we treat nearsightedness? We give them glasses or we give them contact lenses as visual aids, and it works. But the rate that these kids are progressing is now the average numbers are going higher and higher, and these kids are going to stronger glasses on a very strong continual basis. And what are we able to do with that? In the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of changes and advancements in what we can offer parents or kids who are having this fast progression, who are nearsighted. Now, it's not only just about glasses and contacts. There's methods of something called orthokeratology, which is a hardened contact lens that reshapes the front of your eye. There's drops that can be used, such as atropine, to help slow down the rate of progression. There's specialty design lenses and contact lenses that parents can be informed about, or patients can be informed about, on lowering the rate of this progression. Now, none of this reverses patients needing a prescription or their nearsightedness, and it doesn't stall it or stop it, but it definitely has been well documented and proven to slow down that progression. So again, consult with your doctor of optometry to understand if this is something that you fall into, that your child at a young age, or even not even a young age, even in their teens, is nearsighted, and there's a rate of progression. Consult with one of your doctors with these options that exist, and they can help cater what's most suitable for you. Mm-hmm. Now, in regard to ocular surface disease, which is, again, a word for dry, a more formal word for dryness. For a majority of people, dryness is not just episodic, meaning, hey, you know what, I haven't drank a lot of water and I was outside playing in the cold, my eyes are dry. You know, it's becoming much more prominent and much more chronic and progressive than this. So for most people, dry eye disease, we call it disease because it's chronic and it's progressive. And risk factors include aging, Females, again, are more prone to this ocular surface dryness. Patients with autoimmune or systemic diseases like diabetes or Sjogren's or any type of arthritis are more prone to this. Screen time is a big one, and this affects everybody. When we want to produce tears on our eyes, we do so by blinking our eyes. There's many oil glands on the top lid, 20 to 30 on the bottom lid, that they contract, and when we blink, they mechanically stimulates the release of oils that comprise our tear film. When we as humans engage in a visual activity, such as screen times, we blink 70 to 80% less. Wow. And you can imagine people doing this not just for 1 hour or 2 hours, they're doing this for 8 to 12 hours a day on average. The average person spends 8 hours and 42 minutes on the screen. So we're blinking for those 8 hours and 42 minutes, 80% less, which is causing your oil glands not to work properly and the proper full capacity, which is causing them to atrophy. And the natural physiology of our eye, of how we produce tears and moisturize our eyes, is reducing substantially. So this is becoming a chronic condition. And as these oil glands die off or atrophy, they don't produce as much tears, resulting in symptoms that are ongoing and progressive from there. So we've seen a huge movement in the last 15 years in the dry eye world on how we can treat and manage these patients. In our clinic now, we have infrared technology that we can actually image the current state of your oil glands and to see how much damage has been sustained. And we're seeing damage from young, youthful ages all the way up to senior ages, of course, or more mature ages. And then there's more diagnosis, including we can take a sample of your tear and check the osmolarity or check the components of that to see if it has inflammatory markers, if it is on the scale of dry or moderate, severe, or mild. And then there's treatments. There's so many new devices and platforms that exist in the market that are addressing patients that have severe dry eyes. Now, not saying that everybody with dryness, we have to go to these treatment modalities, but it's much more than just picking up a sample of or a drop of Visine on the shelves in London Drugs. There's many good drops that can be customized to what the patient actually needs. Omega-3s is an important thing. That's a thing we advocate too. And even just coaching people on how to take proper breaks with their eyes when they're on the digital devices. But with other therapeutics in the dry eye world, we're getting into radio frequency, intense pulse light. We're using thermal pulsation technique platforms to help stimulate and rejuvenate these oil glands and help secrete more at a better level. So without getting into more details, there's a lot of things that is in the horizon for things that we commonly see. But again, consult with your doctor of optometry to see if you need any of this and what can be most appropriately suited for your plan.
Yes, it's wonderful to hear, the eye care keeps, changing, improving, evolving.
Of course.
What about allergies?
Yeah, I mean, in Vancouver, especially in springtime right now, we're seeing a high amount of patients coming in, calling in. Unfortunately, there's not any new treatment modalities that we often recommend. Again, if it's just low-grade allergies, we'll talk about using supportive therapy like cold compresses, oral antihistamines, even just good quality artificial teals to help irrigate and protect or soothe your eye. If we need to get into something more moderate in nature, there's some great prescription allergy drops that are combinations of antihistamines and mast cell stabilizers. And if it's more severe, of course, we do prescribe often patients steroids or anti-inflammatories that can help reduce the symptomology as they fight through the allergy season.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
It's allergy season.
It is allergy season for sure.
Yes, very much.
Thank you.
Joining me is Laurie Belle. She's a celebrity TV host, TV chef, actor, and author of Get Cooking with the Stars. She has guests from Gene Simmons, Alan Thicke, to most recently 5440. She's interviewed world-renowned chefs, and she's here today on our show, Run With It, to talk about, or actually show us, the raspberry banana smoothie popsicles. So welcome, Laurie.
Hi, Christine. Thanks for inviting me to the Christine Blanchette Show.
Yes, and I'm happy that you're here, Laurie. And tell us about what you do. You're an author, you're a host, and you're multi-talented.
Thank you, just like you. So I have a celebrity cooking show, and what I do is I cook with celebrity guests and executive chefs. And what we do is we put together fantastic recipes as well as finding out a little bit about the stars and, what projects they have, whether it's a movie or, some type of concert coming up. And yeah, I cook and chat with the stars.
Is there a favorite guest, or they're all?
You know what, they're honestly, and I'm sure everyone says, they're all great, and there are, some that really are significant, like having Gene Simmons on the show was an amazing experience. Alan Thicke was fantastic. Alex Ponovic, Van Helsing, he was really fun. We did a moussaka recipe and we went boating around Granville Island, and he was just such a fun guest.
Moussaka. Thank you for helping me make this and even get me involved in this.
Thank you for joining us on Get Cooking with the
Great.
Stars.
Get Cooking with the Stars, and I'm going to eat moussaka.
I know.
Thank you so much, you guys.
And then 5440 recently, Neil and Candle came on and they were fantastic. So I love all my guests, but those are a few notables.
Tell us more about your cookbook.
Right. Okay. So thanks, Christine, for asking that. What's happening is we're taking all of the episodes and all the different stars that some I've mentioned and some I haven't, that on the day, the recipe that we made is going to be in our celebrity cookbook. So for the 2 seasons, I'm going to have it packed with stars and wonderful recipes from our executive chefs.
Yes, I'm so excited for you. Yeah, so let's talk about today's recipe, which is raspberry and banana smoothie popsicles.
Yeah, you know what? We've had this wonderful heat wave. And so in the spirit of that, in Canada Day, I got a Joe Cross recipe. And so he is really good when it comes to fitness and health and heart health. And there's a really, really lovely smoothie that I found and tried, and it's perfect for the summer days.
Yes, and it's healthy, right?
Yeah, it's healthy. Yeah, it's got berries. And for those who are weight training, you could put protein powder in it, like you were saying, Christine. I know that you do running. And so if you wanted to do that in the recipe, you can, or you could keep it lighter. You could use a Greek yogurt. You can add honey for sweetness, so you're not adding any sugar, but you're using natural ingredients. And that's how I cook. That's how I cook at home. That's how we cook on the show. Very natural ingredients, straight from my garden, straight from the vegetables or, the fruit if I can grow it.
Yes, you are an avid gardener too.
I love it. And so are you. That's another thing we have in common. Yeah. I hear that you're really great with gardening. In fact, I've seen some of your photos.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm a beginner, but I'm learning. I'm having more of a green thumb. So,
Me too, honestly. Yeah. I'm still learning from all the pros as well, the executive chefs that come on, but I have trained, in the culinary arts my entire life, basically. So I absolutely love it.
Yeah. So I'm excited to get started on this recipe.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. So we will go to, I guess, your commercial break, and then I'll get set up in the kitchen. I'll see you in 5 minutes.
Yes, we'll be right back. So don't go away.
So the strawberry banana smoothie recipe compliments of Joe Cross recipe. So I like to have banana, so you can get the frozen banana, and we pop that in. Okay, perfect. Fresh berries. So I choose to use strawberries, blueberries, blackberries. You could use any type of berries that you want. A little bit more banana, frozen banana. Then I have the Oikos Greek yogurt, which is really nice to add into it. And again, Christine, you can adapt this, right? You can add your protein powder and anything else that you feel would work for your diet, for your nutrition. So all you do is pop that all in, and then you blend it. Then the next thing is you're going to put them into the smoothie. I've got this kind of popsicle sticks. You could get these at the dollar store. You could get them wherever. And then you pour the mixture in. Then 24 hours later, you've got your, can you see that? Yeah, you've got frozen, like I say, which is perfect for today in this beautiful heat wave we have. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you can have it any time of the day, really. I mean,
Yeah, you can. Yeah, definitely. So,
and it's so easy to do.
yeah, it definitely is. And like I said, you can mix up the ingredients and do whatever works for your own fitness style. Yeah.
Wow. I've got to try some. I wish I was there. You know?
So what I'll do, Christine, is I'll send you, any of the ingredients, and your viewers can take a look at the end of the show to find out the actual recipe. And they can also go to our website, getcookingwiththestars.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And I love you to come back.
I would love to, and it's great to do, cross collaboration. Good luck to you in your show. Hello to your viewers, and thanks, Christine. See you soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Laurie.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Welcome back, Dr. Bob. The sports doctor is in. Dr. Bob, can you tell our viewers your background?
Hey, Christine, it's great to be with you. I'm excited about our ongoing segment, The Sports Doctor's In. Again, I'm Dr. Bob Weil. I am a sports podiatrist. I'm the host of The Sports Doctor, which is an hourly show on Wednesdays, 3 o'clock Central Standard Time with BBS Radio. Again, as a sports podiatrist, I really emphasize and really deal with the role of the foot, with the shoes, orthotics, rehab, but the sports doctor, Christine, is much, much broader than that. We talk about all aspects of sports medicine, fitness, and wellness. If people go to my website, sportsdoctorradio.com, if they go to radio shows, they could probably hear you over the past few years and see who was on, what were the topics, listen to whatever you like. Tremendous amount of information, tons of social media stuff. But you can find out any of it at sportsdoctorradio.com. And you and I have traded radio shows 4 or 5 times, so it's great to be back.
Yes, and thank you for, doing this today. And you're also an author of the book, Hey Sports Parents, an essential guide for any parent with a child in sports. And we're going to talk about, in chapter 14, universal exercises for all sports. And that's to do with weak ankles, right?
Well, not necessarily weak ankle. It deals with it. Again, hashtag Hey Sports Parents is all about the challenges of youth sports, which in the United States alone is a $20 billion a year business. So there's tremendous pressure. There's a lot of overuse injuries, both physically and mentally, with kids in sports. Everything from the screaming parent on the sidelines to overzealous coaches and all of these other things. So youth sports is a huge topic on the Sports Doctor. And the chapter you're talking about, we call it the 2 essential exercise concepts. And very simply, it's strengthen your feet and ankles. No matter what your youngster's sport is, no matter what their age is, strengthening the feet and ankles is a big deal. Rubber bands is a great way to do it. Ankles are the most commonly injured problem still. And if you're looking for speed, agility, balance, strengthening those areas are great. And the other concept is working on balance. Standing on tilt boards, balancing on mini trams or the Bosu. Every time you create instability, you turn on every muscle, and stabilizer, as my famous friend Bob Guida would talk about, in your body. Imagine yourself standing on one foot. Imagine yourself standing on one foot on a mini trampoline. Imagine you are doing a partial squat, you're playing catch. What's amazing is these 2 exercise concepts, I'll give you a secret, Christine, are as important for our super seniors trying to prevent falls as they are to the best athletes in the world, as they are to our children who are playing sports. Every time you create imbalance, you're working your core, you're working your hips, you're working your butt. You're really working your feet and ankles standing on an unstable surface. So including those exercises in whatever these kids are doing, And it's no less important as for you as a serious runner. We find very, very important when we're interested in trying to reduce the epidemic of especially youth sports, but overuse injuries. 50% of the running population at one time or another is dealing with an overuse injury, Christine. You know, the feet, their ankles, their shins, their knees. So these are the kinds of strengthening that really can make a difference.
Yes. And I mean, it's never too late to start, really.
Absolutely. And again, we're not looking to replace everything people are doing. We just want to include it. And again, you know, whether your daughter's a 13-year-old tennis player, whether your son is a 17-year-old basketball player, whether your daughter, in my world, man, is a 10-year-old figure skater doing double jumps already, and you really want to work on strengthening our foundation. And our feet and lower extremities are our foundation. We don't want to wait for trouble. And your first sentence, you said, we don't necessarily be looking for weak ankles. You know, I've never met an athlete with overdeveloped ankles, to tell you the truth. So we really want to pay attention to including that in our repertoire. And again, it's for almost all ages. But in the book, we're concentrating, of course, on youth sports, and we throw in some great cartoons, right,
Yes.
Christine?
Yes, and I love your cartoons. And in chapter 14, like it has like a, you know, how long should one stand on one leg or you know, do the exercises?
Well, again, it depends. It depends on if you're including, somebody might spend 30 seconds on the tilt boards. They might do 2 or 3 sets, let's say, of a half a dozen reps with the rubber bands. The rubber band, you can move your ankles through all of the range of motion in order to be able to do. You got to know what you're doing. So sometimes, you know, somebody seeing a physical therapist if they had a history of problems, you know, checking with their doctor. You know, if we're dealing with somebody who's an older person, we might have people, you know, hey, spend 2-3 times a day for 30, 60 seconds. You can hold on and stand on one foot.
Thanks for watching. If you have a question or comment about today's episode, go to our website, runwithit.ca. Until next time, run with it. Run With It is sponsored by the BC Sports Hall of Fame, Mallory's Fashion Network, and in partnership with Hollyburn Eye Clinic.